If you happen to be among the 2 billion people who have either a Gmail account and or a YouTube account, well, there's something that you need to know. According to an announcement that was just put out by Google, which is of course the parent company for both Gmail as well as YouTube, well, they're going to start deleting all of their accounts which are, according to them, inactive. This new Google policy, it will begin at the end of this year, meaning in December of 2023, and besides just YouTube and Gmail, it will also apply to the users of Google Calendar, Google Meet, as well as Google Photos. Now, let's go through what this actually means, as well as how you can avoid having your accounts deleted. And to start with, let me read to you the rationale from Google corporate executives as to why exactly they're taking this step. Quote, "Too many people were not smashing those like and subscribe buttons below Roman's videos, and so we had to take action." Now, I am, of course, just joking about that, but if you could smash those like and subscribe buttons and maybe even leave a little note in the comment section below in order to tickle the YouTube algorithm, well, then perhaps our channel will be less likely to be deleted by the Google executives, but you still never know. Regardless, here's what the actual Google policy update said. Quote, "People want the products and services they use online to be safe and secure, which is why we have invested in technology and tools to protect our users from security threats like spam, phishing scams, and account hijacking. Even with these protections, if an account hasn't been used for an extended period of time, it is more likely to be compromised. This is because forgotten or unattended accounts often rely on old or reused passwords that may have been compromised, haven't had two-factor authentication set up, and receive fewer security checks by the user. Meaning, these accounts are often vulnerable, and once an account is compromised, it can be used for anything from identity theft to a vector for unwanted or even malicious content like spam." Okay, so according to the official statement, the reason for deleting these accounts is because they are allegedly more prone to getting compromised and then subsequently are used for either spam and or things like identity theft. Although I will mention it's a little bit funny that this change is happening right in the midst of the 2024 presidential election cycle. I just wonder how many of these accounts will be accidentally deleted right before Election Day. Regardless though, getting back to the statement from Google, in order to mitigate this supposed threat, here's what the company will be doing. Quote, "To reduce this risk, we are updating our inactivity policy for Google accounts to 2 years across our products. Starting later this year, if a Google account has not been used or signed into for at least 2 years, we may delete the account and its contents, including content within Google Workspace, meaning Gmail, Google Docs, Google Drive, Google Meet, Google Calendar, as well as Google Photos." Now, the next big question here is how do you avoid having your accounts be deleted? Well, to start with, the elephant in the room here is not to use Google at all, since they have proven themselves time and again to be a company that's willing to engage in censorship of all different types. Not only do they censor content here on YouTube that goes against, you can say, the official narrative, but they also put Republican campaign emails in the spam folder. They place the quote-unquote approved sources of information at the top of the search results so you can't see anything else. And at least on one occasion, they actually went into people's Google Drives and they deleted all copies of a certain documentary because they disagreed with that documentary's conclusion. And so in general, Google has not really proven themselves to be champions of free speech by any stretch of the imagination. Regardless though, setting that aside, if you would like to maintain your existing Google accounts and have them not be deleted in this mass deletion campaign, well then you need to make sure that you keep them quote-unquote active. And in order to do so, here's what you'll need to do. Quote, "The simplest way to keep a Google account active is to sign in at least once every 2 years. If you have signed into your Google account or any of our services recently, your account is considered active and will not be deleted. Activity might include these types of actions you take when you sign in or while you're signed into your Google account: reading or sending an email, using Google Drive, watching a YouTube video, downloading an app on the Google Play Store, using Google Search, using Sign In with Google to sign into a third-party app or service." And they didn't mention it here, but I'm sure that smashing those like and subscribe buttons should be on that list as well. Furthermore, if you are paying for any subscriptions on your Google accounts, such as a Google phone plan, their cloud storage service, YouTube Premium, their Play Pass gaming service, I believe it's called, or anything else like that, then your account is automatically considered active by the system, and therefore it's not subject to mass deletion. And it's also worth mentioning that this new Google policy only applies to personal Google accounts, meaning that if you maintain an account for an organization, a business, or a school, then this does not apply to you. Although it's not exactly clear how they will differentiate between a personal account and an account for an organization, since I know many people just set up a generic Google account and use it for their business. Regardless, in terms of the actions that you should take, besides the ones that I mentioned above, here are a few other suggestions. One is to go into your account settings and set up a recovery email just in case. Because even though you might keep your account active, well, mistakes happen. And it would be a shame if your entire account was deleted by accident and you did not even have a recovery email set up just in case. Second of all, you can also back up all of your files using a feature called Google Takeout. This feature lets you export and download all the data that's stored in your Google account. You can make a copy of it, you can store it locally on your computer, or you can store it on a hard drive just in case your Google account gets axed. And then third of all, lastly, there's a tool called Inactive Account Manager. You can see it up on your screen. Over there, you can go there right now and you can choose ahead of time what you want done to the data in your account if it happens to be deleted. You can even set it up such that if your account suddenly gets deleted, well, you can have all of your data automatically sent over to a trusted contact. And by the way, if you do have Google accounts, even if you use them actively, setting these things up is probably a good idea anyway, because besides getting deleted for inactivity, well, there's always the chance, there's always the danger, just as we mentioned earlier, of getting your account suddenly deleted for being a quote-unquote thought criminal. So perhaps setting up all these contingencies ahead of time is a good thing to do. And in order to make everything as easy as possible for everyone who happens to be watching this video, down in the description box below, I will throw several links to all the resources that we went through in today's episode. Down there, you will find the links for the account settings tool, the Google Takeout feature, the Inactive Account Manager, as well as the full policy update from Google so that you can read it for yourself. All right, I'd like to take a super quick moment and introduce the sponsor of today's episode, Gundry MD, which is an awesome company founded by Dr. Stephen Gundry, a cardiologist, a heart surgeon, as well as the director for the Center of Restorative Medicine. And Dr. Gundry's big thing is to educate the public about a certain condition called leaky gut, which according to his research is largely caused by a toxin that comes into people's bodies when they eat all of this quote-unquote healthy food, the exact types of food that they have been taught to eat by the fraudulent food pyramid. And by the way, just as an aside, outside of this ad, the food pyramid that's been pushed onto this country by the federal government for the last 5 or 6 decades is indeed quite fraudulent, but that's a bigger topic for another day. Now, leaky gut syndrome is something that millions of Americans experience every single year. And some warning signs of it include things like weight gain, fatigue, problems with your digestive tract, stiff and achy joints, and even certain types of skin problems. And while a lot of those just sound like the normal signs of aging, according to Dr. Gundry, it's easy to conflate the signs of a leaky gut with just the normal signs of aging because leaky gut takes a long time, sometimes several years to actually develop. And so people often conflate the two. However, according to Dr. Gundry's research, you can actually fix the problem at its root if you know which exact toxins in which exact foods are causing it. And so if you'd like to learn more about this leaky gut condition, as well as Dr. Gundry's research into what's really causing it, you can simply head on over to gutcleanseprotocol.com/Roman. That's gutcleanseprotocol.com/Roman and watch the video that Dr. Gundry put together. It's a free video that Dr. Gundry put together where he goes point by point through all of his research. The link to it will also be down in the description box below. Dr. Gundry, thank you so much for sponsoring this episode. And now let's head on back to the studio. And now lastly, over on EpochTV, which is our awesome no censorship video platform, I just published a super spicy episode detailing a, you can really say, bombshell that the CDC dropped on those who received the vaccine. Specifically, what happened was that about a month ago, there was a conference held for staff members of the CDC at a hotel in Atlanta, Georgia. And on the very last day of the conference, something you can say unusual happened. Several of the people in attendance notified the organizers that they had tested positive for COVID. An investigation was launched, and it found that, for one, the CDC conference had actually become a super spreader event with over 12% of the CDC staff members getting COVID. But the even more shocking part is that every single individual who happened to get COVID at this event had already received the vaccine. However, that story actually gets a lot deeper. And so if you'd like to check it out, the link to the full episode will be right there at the very top of the description box below. Just click on that link and you can head on over to EpochTV and watch that exclusive episode right away. Now, obviously, I'd love to publish it here on YouTube, but just because of the censorship regime on this platform, well, that kind of content is now welcome here. So that's why we publish it over on EpochTV, and you can again find it by clicking on that link in the description box below. And then until next time, I'm your host, Roman from the Epoch Times. Stay informed, and most importantly, stay free.